Have you ever been alone in an elevator when the lights suddenly flicker and you feel someone is watching you? Tonight, you're about to witness a horror that's closer than you think, because the ghost in this elevator doesn't wait for anyone to get off. You ever felt like the air around you just stops? That's how it began for me. That night, inside the elevator. It was 11:47 p.m. when Daniel Reeves, a building maintenance worker, stepped into the service elevator of the old High-crest Apartments, a 12-story building that had been standing since the late 1970s. The place was nearly empty. Most tenants had moved out months ago due to renovations, though the truth was whispered differently among residents. Strange noises, flickering lights, and something about the elevator. Daniel had been assigned to inspect the electrical system. He was tired, irritated, and just wanted to finish and go home. He pressed the button for the basement. The doors slid shut with a soft thud. Then the elevator jerked slightly, like a shiver through metal. He frowned. "Old cables," he muttered to himself. But as the elevator began to descend, something felt wrong. The air turned heavier, thicker, like the oxygen had been sucked out. The floor indicator above the door blinked, B2. But there wasn't a B2. The building only had one basement. He stared at the numbers flickering. B2, B3, B4. The light overhead dimmed to a dull orange glow. The elevator was still moving down, but too smoothly, no sound of machinery, no vibration. Daniel pressed the emergency stop. Nothing. He slammed the door open button. Still nothing. Then ding. The elevator stopped. The doors slid open, revealing darkness. A long concrete hallway stretched ahead, unlit and damp, walls covered with stains like old blood. "Hello," Daniel called out, his voice echoing strangely, like the hallway swallowed it whole. He stepped out slowly, his flashlight trembling in his hand. That was the last time anyone saw Daniel Reeves alive. 2 months later. My name's Maya Johnson. I moved into High-crest Apartments because it was cheap and close to my new job. The building had been partially renovated according to the landlord, though you wouldn't know it from the cracked walls and buzzing lights in the hallway. The weirdest thing, though, was the elevator. It always made this faint humming sound, even when it wasn't moving. And sometimes, just sometimes, it would stop on a floor that didn't exist. People said it was a glitch, but I'd soon learn otherwise. My first week went fine until Friday night. I was coming home late, around 12:15 a.m. after a long shift. The lobby was empty, silent except for the faint buzz of fluorescent lights. I pressed the elevator button. It opened instantly, like it had been waiting for me. I stepped inside, yawning, and pressed 10. Doors closed. The elevator began to rise. Then it stopped. The floor indicator blinked, B2. I froze. There was no B2. My heart thudded. I hit the door open button, expecting to see a normal hallway, but the doors opened to darkness, the same concrete walls Daniel had seen 2 months ago. Of course, I didn't know that then. Something about the air felt wrong. Cold, not normal cold, like it came from inside the walls. I thought maybe I'd pressed the wrong button. I stepped forward, just an inch past the threshold, and the elevator doors snapped shut behind me. The sound made me jump. I spun around and slammed my fists against the metal, yelling, "Hey, open the door." Nothing. The lights above flickered once. Then I heard it. Footsteps, slow, wet, dragging, from the end of the hallway. "Hello?" I whispered, though I didn't really want an answer. The sound came closer. Step, step, drag. I held up my phone flashlight, pointing it toward the noise. For a second, I saw nothing but empty hallway. Then something moved. A figure tall, shoulders hunched, clothes dripping as if soaked in something dark. I saw the outline of a maintenance uniform. "Sir," I said, my voice trembling, do you need help?" He didn't reply. He just stood there, head tilted slightly to one side. Then he began to walk toward me. I stumbled backward, slamming my hands against the elevator doors. "Please, open, please." Ding. The doors slid open. I dove inside, hit the close button, and didn't breathe until they shut. The elevator shuddered once, then started to rise. I didn't look up until the doors opened again, on the 10th floor, my floor. When I stepped out, my legs felt like water. The next morning, I told the building manager, Mr. Collins, about it. He looked at me for a long moment before saying, "Don't use that elevator at night." That was it. No explanation. Over the next week, I started noticing little things. Lights flickering when I passed. Elevator doors opening when I wasn't near them. And always, that faint, wet footprint trail in the lobby at night. One evening, my neighbor, Miss S. Lee, told me something strange. "You saw him too, didn't you?" she whispered. "Who?" I asked. "The man in the elevator." She said, "A maintenance worker disappeared months ago, Daniel Reeves. He went down to check the basement and never came back. The police found the elevator cables torn, as if something had pulled them apart from below. They closed the lower basement after that. But sometimes, late at night, the elevator still goes down there on its own." A few nights later, I decided to record it. I set up my phone inside the elevator, facing the doors, and pressed B. The elevator began to descend. The lights flickered, and the indicator blinked, B2. My phone camera caught everything. The doors opened to the same dark hallway, and in the far end of the frame, something moved. A figure, slowly approaching. But here's the terrifying part. As the figure reached the door, it didn't just stand there. It raised its head, and it was me. My face, my clothes, my exact reflection. But pale, eyes dark and hollow, it stared at the camera and whispered, "You shouldn't have come back." Then the footage cut off. I woke up hours later, still in my apartment. The phone was gone. The elevator, according to the manager, hadn't moved all night. He said the system log showed no motion, no power drop, no doors opening. But the next day, when I went down to the lobby, the elevator door was slightly open, and inside, on the metal floor, was my phone, screen cracked, video file corrupted, except for one still frame. It showed me standing in that concrete hallway. But this time, I wasn't holding a flashlight. I was holding a maintenance badge. Name, Daniel Reeves. I tried to move out the next day, but Mr. Collins stopped me in the hallway. He smiled faintly, too calmly. "You recorded it, didn't you?" "What do you mean?" I asked. He sighed. "Every few months, someone new tries to leave. They always think it's over, but it's not." I stepped back. "What are you talking about?" He leaned closer. "That elevator doesn't go down anymore. It comes up." I turned and ran. When I reached the lobby, the elevator doors were wide open, like a mouth waiting to swallow. And for a moment, just before I fled through the front doors, I saw him. Daniel, standing inside the elevator, smiling. Behind him, something else moved. A shadow wearing my face. They found my phone again 2 days later, sitting in the middle of the lobby. No sign of me, no sign of anyone. But the elevator? It still runs at night. Always stopping once, between floors. B2. If you ever find yourself inside High-crest Apartments, and the elevator takes you somewhere that doesn't exist, don't step out. because once you do, something else steps in.